We have all been preparing our hearts and minds throughout the service to receive a wonderful, inspired message that's about to come to us. And it's my delight to introduce our speaker today, Sue Wallace. And when I first met her, which was just very recently, I felt like she's just one of those cousins or sisters you just hadn't met yet. You know, kindred souls with all of us. And I'm just going to tell you a couple of highlights about her before she comes up. And she's Sue Wallace. She's known as a psychic healer. And she gives classes and workshops in such subjects as psychic healing, past life effects on the aura, treating the real causes of disease, understanding magnetism on the earth and the human body, pyramid energy and its use for earth and man, colors and their relationship to the body, correct magnetic laying on of hands, protection against electromagnetic pollution, food combining, diet and weight loss, and rejuvenation and cleansing techniques. So she's been delving into this for a long time, haven't you, Sue?
5 years.
Yeah, a long time. So she will, of course, share more about what she wants to share today and what she'll be offering in her workshop in a couple of weeks. Also afterwards, you may pick up some more flyers about her work if you like, and she will be here to talk to you afterwards if you wish. And she has some items for sale that are helpful tools for healing and for health on the earth plane. So that will be available to you after the service. But now, with no further ado, let's invite Sue to come on up. You're welcome.
Charge energy here.
Yeah. We'll fix this how you need it.
All right, I probably won't even need it. I mean, one time we had a lecture at Raleigh. I was doing a Body, Mind, Spirit Expo, and all the electricity went out, and it was dark. And I just said, you know, you can hear me. I don't even need a
But it'll help record it for you.
Okay, all right, I got you. Okay, we're recording it. All right, these are the flyers that are in the back. And this will tell you, when I went to Costa Rica, actually just to get dental work, I wound up lecturing at Unity Church. I wound up on a radio commercial and helped a lot of people just that were around me. And and this is about magnetic therapy. So pick these up if you haven't gotten them yet. And I will be talking about, just briefly touching on some of these subjects today. The psychic healing, how I got started in this is that I was a dancer. I was a go-go girl back in the 60s and 70s. But I started out in a nightclub review, and it was a place where Tammy Terrell, if you remember Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, you know, she was singing there, and then I was invited to dance in Jimmy Durani's show over at Palumbo's in Philadelphia. Went out with Fabian to breakfast. He came into the club where I was working, took me out to breakfast. Met a lot of famous people during that time, but I had torn a cartilage in my knee. Now, I was in this nightclub review, but then when I got into the go-go, I tore the cartilage in my knee. And I said, okay, God, I know there's a reason for this. What is it you want me to do? I had been out of work 8 months. And thank God I had my legs insured. And so I was collecting my disability for my legs not being able to work. But when I said that, okay, God, I know there's a reason for this. Show me what it is you want me to do, and I'll be willing to serve. I submitted my will to the God or the Father within. I've always known, since I was very young, about reincarnation. I mean, back in the 50s, nobody was talking about it. But, you know, I'll be 78 this July. So I've been doing this a long while. But even as a child, I knew about reincarnation. I knew that I lived before. I was very interested in the stars. And I used to tell my dad, someday I'm going to travel out in space. And he said, they're never going to go out in space. And next thing you know, it was the moon. You know, of course, Sputnik was first and everything. So I've always been a little interested in being a space cadet, as you might say. I've had encounters with dreams of UFOs. My son saw a UFO as a child. I've had dreams of being on there. And I think that all my destiny was pointed to who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing here. My name at birth is Dorothy Louise Wallace. I took the name of Sue when I started dancing, and then I incorporated Sue Wallace together the first time I was asked to lecture. I used to lecture for the Camden County Medical Society, the Rotary Club, the JCs, because I got started in the magnetic therapy after I healed my knee. And Next thing you know, I was speaking at the Rotary Club, and they said, well, what name do we want to use? Supersonic Sue, which was my stage name they had given me. Okay, so I said no, and that's the first time I combined my real last name with my stage name, and I said Sue Wallace. And it turns out that Sue Wallace, by numerology, equals 30, which is a 3. My name at birth, Dorothy Louise Wallace, equals a 90, which is a perfect number. Sue Wallace is a 30, which is a perfect number, if you know anything about numerology. And Dorothy Taylor, who was my second marriage, was Taylor. Dorothy Taylor equals a 70, which is a perfect number. I have 3 names that all come out, if you know anything about numerology, they all come out to a number that you don't reduce. I got interested in numerology because I was taking an astrology course, and the fella or the lady that was teaching the course, I called to let her know I wasn't going to be able to make it for some reason, and there was a man there, and he said, what's your name, by the way? He says, your voice is very interesting, as I'd like to do a numerology. So he did the numerology. I had no idea what it was all about, and when she gave it to me the next week, and it told about my soul's urge was the number 6 to be the humanity, the big brother or big sister to humanity. My data, my personality was a 3, which is again is Sue Wallace, before the public speaking in health and beauty and dancing even is a number 3, which I was. And so I was traveling up to Pennsylvania with a friend of mine. I was taken to dinner, and he went to buy some cigarettes at this newsstand, and there was a little pocketbook about numerology. And I picked it up and I'm interesting. So all the way up to Pennsylvania, I'm reading numerology about different people. When we got to the restaurant, a lady walked over and handed the card to us at the table and said, I'm a numerologist. Would you like me to give you numbers like bam, bam, bam? 3 times. The fella did my numerology. I picked up the book, and then the lady was doing it at that time. That always tells me, I get goosebumps when I confirm this, you know. This is meant to be because I was meant to learn numerology. Okay, like the name Jesus is an 11, which is a master number. Buddha is a 22, which is also a master number, you see. So the numbers of your names mean a lot. The numbers that are missing in your name, karmic debts. No numbers missing in my name, okay? Did all my karmic stuff. I've already done all that. So in this lifetime, I'm here to do the healing and to teach people. Now, the past lives effect on the aura has to do with when I scan a person's body, I started using a pendulum, and there's a lot more to it, but I'll talk about many things at the workshop, how I got started with the pendulum like that. But I hold the pendulum like this. I don't hold it like normal people do. And I can scan a room and tell what's wrong with people, who has pain or whatever, and immediately send the energy into the body of the person. Or you could think of somebody, and the higher self will show me what's wrong with that person you're thinking of. And then I heard on David Wilcock about the quantum healing and quantum connection. I'm going, well, that's what I do. Because people say to me, how do you know that? When I'm doing a healing on them and I pick up which tooth in their mouth is bad. And they'll say, how do you know that? I said, God only knows. There's no way I could know. Because the name Dorothy means gift of God. My mother had 2 daughters before me, named me her name, Dorothy. Louise is a female warrior. Wallace means stranger in the land. So over in Scotland, you know, a person was called a Wallace if they were a newcomer or a stranger. So that was interesting what my name meant also. So in the past life clearing of people, I was up in Alaska and I was going up there. That was a weird thing how that happened too, because I was living in Sacramento area, Citrus Heights, California, and this one night, it was a Tuesday night, I could not relax. And I thought, what am I supposed to do? And I just thought, well, I'll go have a glass of wine at Bobby McGee's. So I went over there and there was hardly anybody in the place, so I sat down and had a glass of wine. And the fellow came in there and he said, would you like company? I said, I'd love some company. I have no idea what I'm doing here, but I just could not relax. I had to come over here. So we got to talking, and I told him what I did. He said, we knew I have a friend up in Alaska who has people come up there all the time. And the name of the place was called the Atom Center, which is what I deal with, atomic energy and electrons and protons. But it's interesting because their name meant Ascended Teachings, how'd it go? Ascended Teacher, no, Atom, A-T-O-M, Ascended Teachers, something or other, A-O-T, I forgot now. I guess I'm getting old or something, you know. whatever it is. But anyhow, so I wound up going up to Alaska a lot, and I started going up there like every 3 or 4 months. And this one time somebody said to me, well, can you do past life analysis? I said, I don't think I can do the analysis. I probably could tell you what's going on with your body from a past lifetime, you know. So all of a sudden, that was the thing I was doing. And it was interesting because there was like 3 or 4 people that I worked on. One person was sitting there and she had a sweatshirt on, and I was doing her past life healing just to practice at it. And it told me that she had something wrong with her throat. And when I said muscle, skin, bone, tissue, the pendulum rotates. I said, there's something wrong with the tissue level of your throat. I don't know what that means. She said diphtheria. I said, what is diphtheria? I've always heard of it, but I had no idea what it is. You get a diphtheria, TBD, shot, whatever it is, you know, when you're little. She said, well, it's when your throat tissues slowly swell up and you strangle to death. That's what diphtheria is. So I thought, that's interesting. And she said, I could never wear turtlenecks around my neck. She's always felt like I would strangle if I put something around my neck. So here it was telling me that she died of a tissue level disease in a previous lifetime, and that was diphtheria, which has to do with the throat. I'm learning, right? So anyhow, the next person I remember was interesting was an Oriental lady who's also one of my clients up there, and I picked up that she had a tissue level disease that she died from. And I'm going, tissue level, and all of a sudden I hear in my head, leprosy. And I said, did you ever have a problem with your skin, like you go out in the sun? She says, if I go out in the sun, I break out in a rash. That was more confirmation. So I'm learning, you know, that I'm accurate at what I'm picking up. And then there was another girl. I said, you died of a blow to your sternum. And I said, of course, you couldn't breathe or anything. And then she wrote a testimonial. She said, Sue did not know my accident where I crushed my sternum in a previous accident years ago. So here she died of that, and she was bringing it with her. In other words, what you die from in previous lifetimes, you're bringing with you, excuse me, in this lifetime. So my job is to not only scan a person, do a psychic healing on them where I clear out all the magnetic imbalances, but then I show people how to use magnets to also complete the healing that I do. And, you know, this is something this one couple, I've never met them, and they've been my clients for like 6 years. They heard me on a radio show, and they had me work on her husband, her mother, her 2 brothers, the sister-in-laws, the son, the daughter, the son, the daughter-in-law, and the grandson. Every month, they have me tell them what days they need to be healed, and they send me a check and pay my rent. Okay? So I don't have to worry about anything. It's nice to know that you're helping people, and they've been with me all these years. So in the past life clearing, now I can actually do some demonstrations here also. And if anybody's in a lot of pain right now, I would also want to do a healing on them while they're here. Anybody having any pain right now? Mm-hmm. All right, let me just scan your body and see. That's your left lung, the left lung showing up first, which is coming from the chemtrails. You know, everybody knows what chemtrails are, right? Okay. I took pictures of the chemtrails from a show that was on TV, and I have them on my phone. And some people say, oh, there's no such thing as chemtrails. Believe me, they're chemtrails. Because, you know, when the sky's clear, if people say, oh, there are planes that are making them, well, how come nobody's flying today? You see? So we have a clear sky. So we know they're chemtrails. And the chemtrails affect the left lung, which will then affect the shoulders, okay? And also the Fukushima Radiation, March 11th, is affecting everybody, male and female's reproductive area, which is causing wrist and ankle problems, which is also causing low back and hip problems, and also every part of your brain, which I will be teaching this in the workshop. There's so much to teach. That's why I have to talk fast, okay? Every part of your brain, this is your lungs and your heart, this is your liver, stomach, this is your kidney where there's strokes, epilepsy, and Parkinson's, okay? This is the intestines, reproductive, and bladder in the back of the brain. So every part of your brain is connected to an organ. So if you have a problem in here, it's coming from here. And see, when I tore the cartilage and I used magnets on my knee, and I healed it. Tore the other one, snow skin, really bad. The doctor said, well, you might have healed this knee, you're not going to heal this one, the second one. And within 3 months, I was back to dancing with this one. This one, I was back to work in like 2 weeks after I healed it with the magnets. So magnetic therapy is very, very important. Because what happens with magnetic therapy is that you're made up of nothing but electrons and protons. Okay, everything is vibration. Every single thing in this room is made up of nothing but electrons and protons. So in your body, you have these things called free radicals. Interesting, you can look at the word radical. R-A-D-I stands for radiation. R-A-D-I, radiation. The other half of that word is C-A-L, stands for calcium. Okay, so positive attracts negative. Calcium has a negative charge. Not only was I having a torn cartilage in my knee, but also I started getting arthritis. You can see where I started getting it. Where I bend my knuckles is the kidneys. Where I bend my fingers are the kidneys. Where you bend your elbows and your knees and your middle of your foot, all connected to kidneys. Okay? I was so angry I couldn't see straight. Your eyes are also connected to your kidneys. Your ears also, I was so irritated. Or my hair, I got hot under the collar, which is the middle of the neck. He gives me a pain in the neck. I was so nervous, my knees were shaking, all connected to kidney and adrenals. Okay? What's interesting is that the eyes, if you look at your dollar bill, you'll see an eye with a pyramid. Your eyes are connected to your adrenal glands, which are pyramid. Pyramid means fire in the middle. Pyramids, they pronounce it. Just like the word radical should be pronounced radical. Because I had the inflammation in my kidneys. That's why I injured my knee. That's why I injured the other knee. And once I healed my knees, one time I remember I got upset about something, and next thing you know, my knees were hurting for no reason. I hadn't torn them again, but they were hurting. So I finally scanned my body and I found out my kidneys were inflamed. So I put the magnets on my kidneys, my knee pain went away. And that's when I started learning the connection of how everything is connected. So if you're having shoulder problems, it's your lungs. If you're having upper arm problems, like when somebody's going to have a heart attack, they'll ache right here on the left because the heart leans into your left lung. Okay? So the elbows are the kidneys, the lower arms and the lower legs, the calves, are the intestines. All right? The ankles and the wrists are the reproductive area. So every part of your body, the arms, the legs, the face is every organ. This is the brain as a thinking organ. This is the kidneys and adrenals. Matter of fact, you have two pyramids right here, which I have an anatomical chart book, has every condition in there. And when I saw this, I said, interesting, there's the pyramids, there's the adrenal glands, here's the kidneys. You see? So your adrenal gland, remember, is a pyramid, dollar bill, eye with a pyramid, fire in the middle. The adrenal gland produces adrenaline, which makes your heart beat, but it also will cause fever, hot flashes, and spontaneous human combustion. So when Lot and his family were told to leave Sodom and Gomorrah and don't look back, his wife looked at the destruction that was being done, okay? The radiation went in here, ignited the fire in the middle, the adrenal glands, because your eyes are connected to your kidneys and adrenals, and that fire, that pyramid, ignited the heat. That's what causes spontaneous human combustion. They don't know. The people that are writing the books on it still don't know. I can tell them what it is. It's the adrenal gland. If people get dehydrated, a lot of these people that have spontaneous human combustion are not drinking water, and they're dehydrated, and they're also ambulatory, most of them, and they wind up with kidney problems, which means they've got knee, they can't walk, they're having knee problems. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Germans had the Ark of the Covenant. He was wearing the breast of Aaron. Didn't do any good because the radiation came out of the Ark. If you remember the movie, if not, you should watch it again. The radiation went into their eyes and they all spontaneously combusted. And Indiana Jones and the girl were tied up at the pole, and he said, whatever you do, don't open your eyes, don't look at it. So there you see where your eyes are connected to your kidneys and adrenals. Okay? That's why the expression, I was so angry I couldn't see straight. Mary Nelson, up in Alaska, that runs the Aliment Center, I have books of handwritten testimonials, letters and cards and all that, but anyhow, she called me one time. She said, Sue, I'm having a problem. I can't drive anymore. And this is when she was in her 80s. She said, I've got double vision. I said, Mary, whenever I go to South Beach Grill and I have a couple of drinks, I drive home, I've got double vision, because I'll be driving. I'm going, oh God, you're looking at it like this to see which line you should follow, So I just told her what to do with her magnets. I did some healing on her. She's still driving. She's 95 years old now. Okay? So anyhow, this is something. And the other thing I want to talk about the past life clearing is that if you have a certain tendency to any kind of dis-ease, disharmony, electrons and protons aren't even. The word free radical is groups of atoms that are missing electrons. That's what the word radical means. Groups of atoms missing electrons. So if you don't have enough electrons and you have the nucleus, it's like the sun of the atom. Okay? It has positive charges. They're called protons. So in that nucleus is like the sun. It makes things hot. That's why if you have inflammation, you'll swell up. Okay? And you'll get red and sore because you have all these suns in there, you know, like our Earth. Okay? Is an electron spinning around a nucleus called the sun. Okay? So as above, so below. So in your body, wherever you are missing these negative charges, what are called free radicals, groups of atoms that are missing electrons, you have inflammation, dis-ease, and aging. Okay? I don't wear glasses. I'm not your typical 70, I'll be 78, July 3rd, 1941, I was born. You know, I'll be 78 years old. And I've held back the aging process by constantly monitoring my body. I can do healing on my own body. I can do healing on anybody's body. And I use the magnets all the time. Okay? It makes a difference. And all my clients that I work with, they call me on the phone. I have from Alaska to Costa Rica, you name them, all over. They'll actually call me on the phone. Sometimes they'll say, do you have any people there? I said, well, they'll be calling me on the phone. I'll be scanning them over the phone. And even if I'm driving along, I can use my necklace to scan somebody because I always wear a necklace and it will do the same thing. So we were talking about you having pain. Now, remember I said your left lung is showing up? That would affect your left shoulder, okay? It can also cause stress in your neck because if this is going clockwise, protons go clockwise, electrons go counterclockwise, okay? The Earth is a huge magnet, North Pole, South Pole. We live in the Northern Hemisphere, toilets, drains, everything goes counterclockwise, okay? Even your blenders and everything, your washing machine has to spin counterclockwise. Southern Hemisphere, South Pole energy, clockwise. So when I pick up the pendulum and it spins clockwise, it tells me you have too many protons, not enough electrons. Okay? My job then is to scan and see where it is, and the pendulum will actually show me where it is. Okay? And then that way I'm able to change the polarity and balance it out. Very simple, very easy. Okay, once you know how to do it. And the dowsing is very important. Okay, so let me see. Also, your left kidney showing up. Okay, now I'm going to just tell you what I'm picking up here. Okay, see, you can see it moving. Okay, and I'm not making that move. It doesn't matter which finger I put it on or how I hold it. You can see it'll spin right off my finger. All right, so let me see what else you have here. Also, your left knee, which is kidneys. Okay, and also your left shoulder. You having any pain in your head at all?
No pain.
Okay, do you ever get little pains here?
Yes.
Okay, that's the kidney area of the brain.
Sometimes when I have a very negative thought, it's just this piercing thing that goes right into my head.
Right, yeah.
So then I change it to a positive.
Yes. It's interesting because people say, oh, positive energy. Yes, positive energy is good in the sense of attitude. Negative energy would say he's putting out a lot of negative vibes. That means he's losing negative charges. Okay? When he's putting them out, he's losing them because of his personality, attitude, whatever. Okay? So where's your pain now?
There's a tiny bit, and I am your patient from about 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
You recognize
Do you have magnets?
I had the waffle, I bought everything you had. I had the waffle magnets, and one by one my renters, my boarders stole them, so I don't have anything now.
Okay.
But you healed an injury that I had had for well over 30 years in my lower back from being hit in my car from behind over it was like 50 years ago.
Wow.
And so when I was with you, it was about a 30-year-old pain, but you got rid of it.
Yeah.
And I kept being re-injured over the years, so I figured it was karma, and I just tried to live with it.
No.
You were amazing. You were absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's one time I didn't even know she was here. I thought you looked familiar, but I figured I'm around here all the time. So, excuse me, I must have met you someplace. But you've been to one of my lectures before.
Yes, I was your patient for quite a while. I came to you a number of times, and like I said, you healed me.
Okay, we need to get back on it again.
Probably.
It's so important. And the magnets are really nice. You get two in a set for $135, okay? And the psychic healing I do is $50, and you can't even go see a doctor for $50. Okay? And physician heal thyself, that's what I did. I healed myself of my arthritis, torn cartilages, whatever. And this is why I'm able to help other people. Okay? And I've learned so much over the years. And when I do the workshop, I will also be telling each person whether they're right or left-handed. And I'll verify it with every single person if you have any doubt about it. Because knowing which hand is your south and your north pole is very important, because if you have to do healing on somebody, okay, you have to know where your north pole is. And it's interesting, they call left-handed people south poles because that's where their south polarity usually is, in their left hand. So I'm right-handed, this is my south pole, okay, this is my north. And if it's south here, this is north, south, north, south, north, south. Okay, this is what I'll be teaching at the workshop. So all these things on this flyer here is things you're going to learn. And you can tell, like right now, what I'm teaching you, there's a lot of information I have to share. And if anybody, like the numerology, I think everybody should know what their numerology is, what numbers are missing in their name, so they can know what they have to learn in this lifetime. And I found a lot of people that had numbers missing in their name are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. So they're completing their karmic stuff, okay? And everybody says to me, you know, when the spirit is willing what is they called? When the
spirit is willing, the flesh is weak.
Yeah.
No. How's it go? It's something about when the teacher is ready, the student will appear. Okay, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's what it is. Yeah. All right. So anyhow. You know, it's interesting about numerology and things like that, but, you know, they landed on the moon. They were supposed to have landed on the moon, right? 1969, right? Now, you look at a Cancer sign, you always see a 6 and a 9 at the top of the page. They landed on the moon. What's that number? Moonchild. What was the date? July 21st, sign of the Moonchild. What was the guy that landed on the moon? Armstrong. A crab has strong arms.
Wow.
So think about it. It's all connected to the astrological connection of the sign. 69, moon, they landed on the moon. It was July 21st, last day of the Cancer sign, all right, or at least the 20th. And the guy's name was Armstrong. A crab has strong arms, and that's the crab is the Moonchild. So nobody ever put that together, but that's how my mind thinks, because I've got Gemini rising, so I'm a big thinker. I'm always analyzing things. So anyhow, where your pain is where, hon? In your back.
The most severe pain I've been having
is your knee. That's your kidney.
And then there's a mild pain back here. But
Okay.
I'm using
Okay.
hot water bottle in both of them.
All right. I'm going to work on your kidney first. That's what's showing up. Left knee. Kidney again. Left lung. The healing is very fast.
I know. I can tell already.
Okay. There's another technique I do also called zapping, and that's when I use instruments. It's called psychotronic energy transference, because I use my mind and an instrument, and I treat the chart book with it. That's the 125, but if you can only afford the 51, get the 50, because that's always good right off the bat. And I do work on emotional layers as well as physical, okay? Even my dentist in Costa Rica, I wind up healing his tooth. When I first met him, when you go to Costa Rica and you meet doctors, they treat you like a friend, not just a patient. And when I first went in his office, and he said, I'd like to take you to lunch. So his wife and he owned bakeries in different malls. So he took me over to the mall one day, and he ordered a pastry, and I ordered a salad. And I noticed his coloration was like a little orangey. So I said, I scanned him, and because I always wear my necklace. I scanned him. I said, you have a liver problem. He said, no, I don't have nothing wrong. I'm a surfer. He said, I'm perfectly healthy and great shape. I'm going, yeah, but your liver's showing up. That's there. So when he decided to become my client, because he saw me healing people around the offices and all that, he sat there, and I used this big anatomical chart book that has every condition, and I went down there and I went to the teeth, and I said, well, John, looks like you have something wrong with one of your teeth. His name was John Williams. So I flipped the page open. He said, yes, Sue, which one is it? I went right over, and the pendulum went right over in the liver tooth, and it rotated, because every tooth in your mouth is connected to organs. So I said to him, I said, it's this tooth here, whatever it is, it's your liver tooth. He said, that's the only tooth in my mouth I've ever had a problem with. I've had gum work and sensitivity of the tooth. He said, and that's totally accurate. So I have his handwritten testimonial also that he wrote it out. You see, I have college curved toothbrushes that wrap around each side of your teeth. And the only toothpaste I use is pure peroxide, hydrogen peroxide. I don't use any other toothpaste because it wears your teeth down and it's bad for you. I dip my toothbrush in the peroxide, brush my teeth, and that's it. Okay? So anyhow, I'll get back to you again. Okay, also your stomach, your emotional stomach is showing up. Left hip. Left knee again. There'll be layers and layers and layers. It's like a slinky. When I have to do the healing, I have to keep going layers and layers and layers. I'm just going to do a few more things, and then I'll probably see you at the house, you know, because I work out of my home. You know, cancer signs, they like their home. I feed everybody, I take care of everybody. That's my job, being a cancer sign also. Okay, now how's that feel?
It doesn't hurt.
Good. Stand up and see how your back feels.
Well, a little while ago when we were standing, I had to hold my back because it was hurting, and I don't have to hold my back.
Okay, let me see if you walk, if you notice any difference in the pain.
Yeah, I don't have any pain, and I'm not limping. And
Good.
I was limping earlier.
Okay, you probably know her more than I do. I don't remember, but anyhow. There was a lady I met on a plane. I was leaving Denver and going up to visit my son in Connecticut, and I was in the aisle seat, and the fellow was at the window seat. There was an open one here, and I saw this lady come in, and I thought, well, would you like to sit here? And I just picked her out, and she sat down, and she asked me what I was doing, where I was coming from, where I was going, and I was telling her. And I told her I did the healing work, and that's what I was doing in Denver at the show. And so she said, well, can you tell me about me? And I said, yeah. So I scanned her, and I said, I think it was your right ankle. I said, right foot and ankle's inflamed. She said, yeah. She said, I'm a skier. I can't do anything. I'm having pain in it. I've been to the orthopedic surgeon and blah, blah, blah. And she said, and does it get better? I said, well, I could heal it if you want. She said, well, what do you charge? I said, $50. She said, all I have is a $100 bill. I said, I got $50 change. I had lots of money because I was coming back from Denver, so I had lots of dollar bills, you know. So she gave me the 100, I gave her the 50, and I said to the guy, I want to heal her foot. And he went, okay. No, that's right, yeah. So anyhow, I did the healing on her, and when I finished, I always carry a black and white chart with me, you know, and I don't need it, but that's what I did. When I finished, I said, okay, now how's your foot feel? So I said, move it underneath the seat. So she started moving it, and next thing you know, she's like glaring at me, you know. And I said, does it hurt anymore, does it? She said, no. And she said, how long is it going to last? I said, well, I healed it. It shouldn't be any more problem. She wound up not only becoming a client of mine, but she set up a group of people for me to come and lecture and work with those. And then even her mother, who had been very sick, was going to try to visit her, but she wasn't feeling well enough. She paid me to do a healing on her mother, and her mother was doing fine, and we're still good friends to this day and client. You see? So anyhow, anybody else have any, am I done now? Okay. Okay. All right. Don't forget, February 9th, it's going to be 2 to 6, it's going to be 4 hours. Tell your friends, bring them along. Okay. Am I allowed to charge for that too?
Do what?
Am I allowed to charge for the workshop?
Yes.
Okay. It'll be 35. It'll be 35, and a couple can come for 50. Okay. And 50% of it will go towards the church. Okay. So this way, I'll be able to teach you and help the church at the same time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.